So you want to fix up your car at home, build a hot rod, a street machine, whatever you want to do. You want to do it yourself because you can't afford to pay people to do it. And I get it. I mean, I'm alive today too. But you don't want it to look like a little kid did it. Well, good luck. So I'm fixing to tell you where to spend your money. The first place to spend your money. You're going to talk to all kinds of people looking for advice on how to do this, on what to do, on how to do it and where to do it and why to do it. And everybody's got their own opinion. And if you're talking to people who sell stuff, well, they're going to want to sell you stuff, aren't they? Well, I got nothing to sell you. I mean, unless you want to buy stuff, I'll sell you some shit. I'll give you a good deal too. But if you're talking to salesmen and stuff, well, they're pretty, they're heading down, they're walking down one street, right? They're only walking down one street only. Most people, though, they will tell you that if you're going to buy stuff, buy the best stuff that your money can afford. Your money can afford? Buy the best stuff that you can afford. Which is fine if you've got your garage set up and you got $177,000 to go out and spend on a bunch of shit to put in there. Sanders and wrenches and welders. And I mean, then dandy. If that's what you got going on, then you ain't watching this video either, are you? Don't do that. Just cut it out. The first place that you should be putting your money is in the biggest, hairiest, horniest compressor that you can afford and that you can run off of your power requirements in your garage. Because you better think about that too. That's a thing too, is whatever kind of power you got run into your garage. Autobody, auto bidet, is a compressed air based thingamabob. Everything that you're going to do on an old piece of junk, you're going to be plugging an airline onto whatever you're using. If you're if you want to be a mechanic, a backyard, a shade tree, in the driveway mechanic kind of a guy, well, you can click a battery on anything you need. Impacts, ratchets, screwdrivers, whatever. You can go into your wife's nightstand and grab her pack of batteries, and away you go with your stuff. Auto body, you ain't clipping a battery onto the bottom of a paint gun. They don't make them like that. So that's the first thing, is spend your money on a compressor. And I'll tell you, you can buy a fancy sander, or you can buy a big fancy grinder, or you can spend $1,274, as previously discussed, on a paint gun. But if your compressor sucks, it's not going to run any of that stuff. And you're going to find when you get into doing stuff, and you're going with the flow, and you're getting jiggy with it, and you start running out of air, well, that's a bummer. You can work for a few minutes, but then you got to sit and let your air build back up again. And you damn sure can't paint like that. If you're going to paint something in your garage, you can't have your air going up and coming down and going up and coming down and going down and coming up and coming up and going down and going sideways, because you're going to go sideways, because it ain't going to work for you. Your paint's going to go on. And that's the way it's going to go. And you ain't going to like that neither. Because you know what you're going to have then? You're going to have a mess. And you're going to be pissed off. And you're going to have to wait for a day. And you're going to have to go buy yourself a box of wet sandpaper. And you're going to have to start again. Because you bought a fancy paint gun and not a fancy compressor. I'm a one-man show here where I am. See, there's nobody else around me. Is there? It's just me and all my friends. So, I don't need 100 CFM air. See, that's how your compressor is rated. CFM at a certain PSI. PSI is pounds per square inch. And CFM is, it's cubic feet per minute. Oh! Give me a pat on the back for remembering that one. So that's what you need. That's what everything needs. And what that relates to is not so much the pressure, but the volume. Cubic feet per minute. Cubic feet. That's the volume of air. Not everything runs on the pound of air, how much you're pounding into it. It runs on how big of a pound. See what I'm saying to you? That might not have made any sense. Whatever. That's how it goes though. You need the CFMs. So I don't do much sandblasting here. And when I do, I hang my compressor's tongue out. But I mean, and unless you got a serious compressor, but who wants to sandblast anyways? Because sandblasting sucks. Sandblasting is like a day at the beach in a 200-mile-an-hour wind, and you're getting sand all up under your sacroiliac, and it's a bummer. I hate sandblasting. So there. And I'll show you. I'll show you what works for me for air. Just a minute. So here's what I use. And I'll explain to you why I picked this. Because I had a compressor or two before this one that didn't cut the cheese. Well, they didn't cut the mustard. Is that it? The mustard? What are we cutting? Are we cutting cheese or mustard? They didn't work well enough for me anyways. So this is, it's not a huge bitch, but it's a big bitch. This is a 7.5 horse powers, 220 volt, and it's got to have a pretty big breaker because it pulls some juice, pulls some of the cheese out. It is an 80-gallon tank. Now, a lot of people in places say you need more storage. And you see a lot of people that will run one compressor and they'll have another tank beside this tank. So that's dandy that you have all that storage of air. But it's not really getting you ahead of the game, because still you might be able to go an extra few minutes before you run your air pressure down in your tanks. But now you got two tanks, so it's going to take twice as long to build that air pressure back up again. So while you have a bigger pot to dip into, it takes you longer to fill that pot back up again. So again, if you don't have enough CFM, give repeat per minute, then it don't matter how many tanks you got, you still don't have the CFM, period. So you can have 7 tanks. It's just going to take you 7 times as long to build that pressure back up again. So I don't really agree in having 10 times the storage, because like I say, I don't know that it'd get you anywhere. It might be beneficial for the first 10 minutes, but then after that, the rest of the day is a bummer, because it just is. So it is. So just never mind, it is. So this here particular compressor, you can't read the sticker, and it's not because you're stupid, it's because you can't see it. Well, maybe you're stupid, I don't know, but you can't see the sticker. So where are we? This particular mechanism makes 25 CFMs at 90 PSIs. You're not going to need, cut that out. You're not going to need much more than 90. Would you just more than 90? Holy hell, what's going on back here? You're not going to need much more than 90 PSIs. I mean, that's because you're not. Not much runs on more than that. Most air tools and stuff, they'll run sanders, ratchets and stuff. I mean, most of them don't want any more than 100 in it, because you're going to blow O-rings and seals and shit out of them. So I got this one, the factory trip is set at 150. That's where it kicks on and off. Or no, it kicks off at 150 and it kicks on again at 125. So that's the pressure that it'll float around in the tank. And then I've got another rig limitator on the other side there that I've got cranked down to like 110 or something like that. Now, so this is the pump. This is the 2-stage. Here, I'll reposition you so you can see what I'm on about here. So this is a 2-stage compressor. What that's referring to is the cylinders. As you can see, look, I got a pointer. Hey, that's what I'm. Why yada. So you got a big cylinder, and you got a little cylinder. Big, little, biggie smalls. Hey, biggie smalls. That's what we got here. So what happens here is the air comes in the air cleaner, up cha, and it goes down. There's no carburetor, but it goes down. Hello, it goes down into the head, cha. And now what happens is in this head, cha, it's got some valves and shit, whatever they do. I don't know. But this big piston, Big Daddy, it gives it a good squeezing. And now once it gives it a good squeezing, are you with me? Once it gives it a good squeezing, then it pumps it over into this side, into the little one. And now that little one takes this whole volume of air and packs it into a smaller cylinder and then gives it one. I mean, it gives it one. And then from it giving it one, well, then it comes out through this pipe and goes down here down into the big belly here. So that's a two-stage. The first stage is the big fatty, and the second stage is the little marathon runner, and then it goes. So that's what it gives it a. I guess the whole idea is that neither side is working as hard. I guess I don't know. I didn't engineer it, but you can get compressors like this. This is, like I say, your two-stage. You got a big and a little. So it's compressing the same air in two steps, halfway and then the rest of the way. You know what I'm saying? So there is other compressors. Here, I'm going to move you again. Don't confuse two-stage compressors with them ones that have got cylinders mounted all over the place. Don't do it. Because I've seen them where they got your one crank, and then over here, cha, there's a piston, and then up, cha, there's another piston, and over, cha, there's another piston. Trying to make it look like an airplane engine or something. I don't buy it. I don't buy all that shit. I think that's a gimmick. I've seen lots of them. Lots of people buy into it. Lots of people buy them. I don't know that they make any better air than a two-stage. I've had this particular compressor for probably, it's 2024, I'm going to say, I've probably had this compressor for a solid 15 years now. I've been using it. Seriously. And I've never touched anything in this pump. It's a little bit sweaty. I think maybe the head gasket might be getting a little, or it might just be coming out of the little vent thingamabobber here. You can see by the flaking paint, I have had this thing hot enough numerous times that you can't even touch it. I've had it so hot that you can barely touch the tank. And you damn sure ain't touching this. I mean, it's even kind of discolored from the heat. So it's gone through some serious heat cycles, and usually that's when I've been sandblasting. Remember with the sacroiliac and everything? That's when I was doing that kind of stuff. And it's still fine. It still builds air. On this gauge here, this will monitor how fast that this is actually building air, and it still builds air quick. It works well. The only thing I've had to do to this is I've had to put another motor on it, and that was just recently. And I think I burnt the other motor out because this used to be on the other side with me where it's all dusty and stinky all the time, and I never blew that motor out enough. So I moved it over here in my garage, which is just the other side of the wall, where it's nice and clean. On the subject of the heat, warm air, and it doesn't take this very long to heat up, but the warm air makes moisture. It'll get moist. Oh, so moist. Sorry. It'll build moisture, and that moisture will go into the tank. And that's why they put a drain on the bottom. That's why you get water on the bottom to drain out. It's from moisture from the hot air. So if you're going to be doing a lot of shit, what's important is an air dryer. This here's an air dryer. It's like a refrigerator. See this? That's like that grill on the back of your fridge. Have you ever seen the back of a fridge and it's got the hoo jar? Well, that's what that is. So what's happening here is the air is coming out of here. It's coming out of the tank, and I'm running it in here. And it's just circulating through a refrigeration unit, which is cooling the air down. Now, as it's cooling the air down, what that's doing is it's taking the hot humidity, moisture in the air, and it's cooling it off, and it's just turning it into water instantly. And it's dropping out, and this thing's catching it, and it's got a little hose and a little thingamabob down here that this has got a timer on it that every couple of minutes it pumps the water out and shoots it into a bucket I got down on the ground there. A refrigerated air dryer. This works 10,859 times better than them stupid little canisters that they buy. Call them an air dryer that you just run your air through, and it's got the whatever, it looks like an oil filter thing on it, and it's full of some kind of shit, some gravel or something stupid, Cheerios, whatever it's full of in there, I don't know. And then that's supposed to catch the moisture in the air. Well, what happens when you're using a bunch of air and the air just goes and just whips right past it? Well, it's not catching nothing. Those things don't work, is what I'm getting at. Maybe they work for you, but I don't believe you, because they don't work. This works. They're a little bit of money, and they are rated in CFM as well. I think this one's rated at 50 CFM. So this refrigerator should do twice what my compressor puts out. So it should always work. But I got a fan in front of it. Because this one, for some reason, doesn't have a fan in it to cool the pump off. So it gets really hot. And when it gets really hot, it overheats and it shuts down. And it's done that a few times. I don't like that. So, yeah, this is what you need. If you got one of these, and one of these, and if you go this route with one of those, then, you're going to be set. That's my tutorial on what I think about air compressors and air dryers. You need what you can afford. Buy that first. Then you can dink around with all the other shit.